Well, on Sunday, President Trump announced 25% tariffs against products coming from Canada and Mexico, as well as 10% tariffs coming from products from China. The president has said that it is connected to the level of fentanyl making its way into the U.S. There have also been questions around immigration, but there are many questions to be asked as to how this will impact all of the parties involved, including Americans, due to the expected retaliatory tariffs by both of our neighbors. Jeremy Siegel, Wharton Emeritus Professor of Finance, joins us to talk it all over. Jeremy, great to have you on the show. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Dan. Happy to be here.
Thank you. All right, so let's start right at the get-go. President Trump announces these tariffs. What are your thoughts?
Not a good idea. I think it's not good economically and it's not good politically, and I'll explain that in just a moment. First of all, as we're talking, they don't. It's supposed to take effect till midnight. There may be brinksmanship here. By tomorrow they may be gone. A lot of the effect obviously depends on how long they're going to be on. But this is going to uh, it's certainly not going to tank the U.S. economy. It's not going to put us in a recession. If they last, let's say, 2 or 3 months, even without retaliation, a few tenths off of GDP, a few tenths up on the CPI, Consumer Price Index. But here's where I think we have to think about here, and that's the political effect. Um, we're going to get a rise in price in gasoline. We already see futures up 3 or 4 cents. Gasoline is the most visible price. Everyone's talking about avocados and the upcoming Super Bowl and guac, and people love to talk about this. The mainstream media, let's face it, which is who are not Trump's friends, are going to get on every single story, that every penny and all the rest. And so there's going to be a lot of negative press, because I don't think people say, you know what, I'm paying for more for my guac because of something on fentanyl and Canadian borders. I don't know if that's going to ring with them. Secondly, there's going to be certain Congress. Now, here's where the critical thing. This is what's critical, in my opinion. Um, the Republicans have a very narrow margin in the House. They want to pass this huge omnibus bill. They cannot afford to lose anybody. Let's face it, one, two at most. There's a lot of congressmen and women in districts that are going to be very affected by this negatively, and they're going to get some negative feedback. Speaker Johnson's going to hear about this. I expect Speaker Johnson to go to Trump and said, let me just tell you, you want to pass this bill, we're having we may lose 4, 5, 6 votes and it's dead.
Right.
I mean, there's where the rubber hits the road, really, if you want to know the truth, where the political pressure is. I mean, first of all, it is very sad commentary on our government system that Congress, who was supposed to given the sole rights to impose tariffs in the Constitution, gave those rights away to the President of the United States. By the way, the first law in 1962, by the way, with a overwhelmingly Democratic House and Senate, passed it, signed by Kennedy, and to give him the right in national emergency, which was what he called. There have been other bills subsequently that have given him the right in fair trade practices, everything else. But basically, I think Congress wants those rights back,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they can't get them back, because even if they say, hey, they try to pass a law, don't forget, Trump has veto power over that law, and they don't have 2/3 to overturn that by any means. So they gave up a big issue. That's water under the dam as far as that's concerned. So I think the political impact here is what's important, particularly in terms of passing the omnibus and tax bill that
Yeah.
the Republicans want to do, because let's face it, I mean, Trump came in with pretty good approval ratings, an era of good feeling. Squabbles among the Republicans have been at a low, let us say, since the presidency. Why does he want to, stir the hornet's nest here? Uh, because he won't get his bills passed if he does.
So you mentioned gasoline futures already seeing a tick up.
Yeah.
For the consumer in general, how quickly and how would they see these tariffs start to have an impact?
Well, on gasoline right away. There are many gas stations that price immediately off futures. I mean, that's their formula. I mean, even before they get it, they price off futures.
Right,
So, we could see a couple pennies, 2 or 3 pennies, 4 pennies within of 2 or 3 days on gasoline. Now,
right.
what supermarkets do about guac, yeah, well, let's say avocados, not and guac is a derivative there, of course. I mean that's up to them. 80% of our avocados come from Canada, from Mexico.
Yeah.
So obviously the price of the remaining ones would go up. There will be a run on them, I think, if firms keep the prices. You might see sell-offs on them if they don't raise the prices. So this has the ability to have. I mean, this is not going to change anyone's, you know, a fundamental financial lifestyle, but it's
Right.
the visible stuff that media, that social media love. And
Yeah.
it's going to just feed into it day after day after day, and not, I think, at all to the benefit of President Trump.
So let's also throw in the component of the Federal Reserve last week not cutting rates,
Yeah.
and what kind of impact. And this has been a back and forth talking point, especially since the president brought up the idea of tariffs in the first place, of what kind of potential impact tariffs, just maybe larger scale, would have on the impact on inflation that we're seeing right now.
Yeah. Well, if it is um, long term, if there is retaliation, and then of course Trump is even saying that he could raise these rates. Um, then you're going to have a tick up in the rate of inflation. Now there is a big debate among economists and the Fed whether a tick up of inflation due to tariffs should be a response, because it's not excess demand. It's really an external supply side issue where the Fed might say, well, this is going to pass through. I'm not going to try to,
Right.
make things worse by tightening credit. That would so I mean, even I would say let that pass through. It's a one shot increase. Obviously, if they tried to raise rates as an excuse, that would certainly bring the ire of Trump on them. But don't
Yeah.
forget, the next meeting is not until March 19th. So we basically have 6 7 weeks right now before, and we'll see how this all settles out by then.
Is it your belief then that there's more of a chance that the tariffs that were announced are a better chance of short term than they are long term?
It seems to make political sense to me that they're short term, because otherwise, I think he will hear the feedback, and he's going to get the feedback both from legislators and the public, who are not going to like all these stories about increases in some of their favorite foods.
Yeah.
It's just this type of stuff which the news media loves to eat up.
How much
No
does
pun intended
Canada?
there.
No, yeah, exactly. How much does Canada and Mexico retaliate, do you think?
I think that depends on the length of time. Really, I think they're set to retaliate. I mean, I've already heard that some Canadian liquor stores have taken American liquor off of the shelves. This is us. We make good liquor ourselves. So there's going to be a little bit already, even of unofficial retaliation. Hey, just don't buy American goods, even if we don't
Yeah.
retaliate. I mean that was almost, maybe that's some of the source of why Apple phone sales have been weak in China. That was buy non-U.S. goods. So there's going to be some of that. I don't think. I mean, right now, there's going to be a few retaliations that are on a fraction of it. And I think everyone's sitting down to see in the next few days whether, Trump is going to settle this deal.
How much do the markets react to this?
I think it totally depends on how long. But let me say, as long as these tariffs are in effect and are not lowered, it's very hard to see the stock market going up.
Jeremy, always great to get your thoughts and your insight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
You got it. Jeremy Siegel, Wharton Emeritus Professor of Finance.